That story is what is called the cognitive bias.
So you're saying your brain creates a story to be okay?
Absolutely. The problem is that this block also blocks the ability to celebrate life too. So it's not just that blocks the bad and allows the good, but it blocks almost everything.
We've got 10 minutes and I would like to get to the modelling in a minute, the 3D modelling. Before we do that, give me a specific application of how that might turn up in someone's life.
For us as thought leaders, that the focus here is about thinking. The idea is how to go to the thinking that is the story behind the story too. So if we are asking as coaches, we're talking at the lunch, the coaching and mentors, and when you ask somebody, how are you? The answer of how I am is in the limbic system. This is where the information is stored. But when I ask, how are you? That system is a variable and it's cortical.
So when that word again, did you say variable?
Variable. It's a word.
Oh, verbal, yeah, yes. Yeah, right.
So it's an accent.
It's a beautiful accent, by the way. I'm going to affect it when I get home later.
Good. So when I ask somebody, how are you? That information is here. But because this cognitive bias is there and has a story, the person answers from here. I'm okay. And other persons, I feel miserable. But it's miserable because sometimes it's satisfying for many people to feel miserable, to feel pity. No? Some people dwell on that, and it's very appeasing, actually, because creative...
Did you just say appeasing?
Appeasing.
Oh, appeasing.
Okay. No, it's okay.
Sorry, I know you're all good. This is just about me. I just but this is a cheap way to get therapy. Is that right? Okay.
So, whatever it is, I ask somebody, how are you? And the information that is here is answered from this area. So we can spend hours, years, living in this level. And all the coaching process is how to get into here. And Goldman talks about the emotional intelligence, how to connect that part of the brain. And I was presenting at the Neuro Leadership Conference, and we're doing research on that. And everybody talks about how to connect that part of the emotions. And people say, go inside, go in, don't cut your life here. Go. So we have a lot of languages trying to help people to do that. The question is how to do it.
So, Dr. Raimondo, this is what you've kind of invented. You've come up with a process, or made it accessible at least, for people to start to get around the stories that people create, so you can get to the story behind the story,
exactly,
to see what's really going on. I think the best thing we can do in our final time, if you're up for it right now, and I know the room's with us, is let's showcase just some of the stuff you showed me, just maybe up on this table. Would you be willing to do that?
Great.
Fantastic. Round of applause for Dr. Raimondo. This process that Carlos talks normally requires an hour of explaining beforehand. He's been very gracious to chop it up into sushi-sized portions for us this afternoon. So you just get a wasabi taste. How's that? Metaphor?
Okay. I'll tell you a story. This woman is called Jane. Jane is a leader in an organization, a senior leader, and she is feeling very unhappy at work, very tense. She explodes at any time, and she has her coach. And she said to the coach, I feel very lonely, I don't feel supported. Every time I ask for support, nobody really cares, and I feel alone in the company, especially now with so much pressure. I have less employees, and I feel really lonely. What is the picture you have of that person? Singular? Sorry? Isolated? Depressed? Is she a happy girl? No. So if we condition the story that she has created in her mind to be able to explain her feelings. Remember that I said before, the brain cannot handle uncertainty. So I cannot not create a story. And this is called a cognitive bias. So if I continue talking like this, it will be almost an endless conversation, and we don't have time here to show you more about the brain, how the brain works. It will be endless conversation. So the question is, how to go to the story behind the story. Would you think that would be a good idea?
Yes.
So instead of continue talking to the person, we have, for example, templates, different templates, and a method that I developed. It's called the 3D simulation. Then you have to simulate, and we put it in the front like this, And we ask the person, instead of tell me, we have a magic word that we ask the person, show me. Show me how you feel. So instead of doing that, the person gets the figures and they say, okay, I show you. I will put this board because it's a little bit bigger. Can you see this picture? Oh, it's okay. Can I see that? Here.
Can you see that, son?
Can you see that, son? Yeah? Can you see? Okay. We ask the person, show me. So the person, very quickly and without talking too much, the person said, this is what I feel. I feel like this. I feel that everybody is like that in the company. The company is like this. And I feel that my problems are like this. What do you think? When she looked at this happened in 2 minutes or less. Exactly the time I use here. When she looked at this, she said, oh, she said, I asked the person, what can you see? I said, oh, she says, it's me that is facing back to them. So she realizes in a millisecond like this, that if she is the one that in moments of tension and anxiety, she becomes a controlling of her problems, and she loses the ability to connect with other people who are, she says, waiting for her to relate with the problem. What do you think? How long it will take you to find this for a person to recognize that? Long time. And the beauty of this is that the person is able to create, and don't do this very quickly because this looks very deceiving, looks very simple but it's not. The person has the ability to say, this is what I want. I really want to live my life. I like to work. In that case, I like to work with a team, with somebody who can share the experience. The experience. And in this process, you have all a technology very well written with the questions that are ready. We ask the person, what should happen here for you to obtain this? And she says, I need people to come closer to me. And she said, for how long have you been waiting for people to adapt to you? What is the answer? All my life. So the question here is what is called the play of life is, what can you do?
What did you call it?
The play of life.
The play of life.
The play of life is a colloquial term. The technical term is 3D simulation. And simulation is the essence for leadership. How can I simulate? So in that case, she said, I need to turn around. What is the coaching process, the mentoring process? It's no more, no less. That help this person to have an insight. And because this is triggering, the more theory, triggers what is called the mirror motor neuron in the brain. What is happening here is also happening in the brain. And this is the latest research. So when the person is doing that, and the person does this later on, and we have a technology how to do it, every time that she will do this information comes to the brain like this, and she's able to know, I need to do that.
That's brilliant.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
This is just a snapshot of how we can, in a simple way, not simplistically, bypass a cognitive bias to be able to access a part of the brain that otherwise is very hard to obtain. And we are knowing now why people who see that, they don't feel bad about it. There's a fantastic insight where real breakthroughs are happening. So we are not talking about change here. We're talking about transformation. So it's a transformation that happened for the person. And this Jane says, but what I'm doing at work is exactly what I'm doing at home. Because this is the behavior that we are learning. So this is what is what's in my heart. How can we help people to have a better insight underneath the story? How to create a story that I want to live, passionate about. But the more important thing, what can I do to be able to make it?
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Carlos Raimondo. Thank you. Simple, elegant. And when I sat with Carlos, he showed me at least 7 personal applications and scenarios where you could just go, oh, imagine if you got that insight. And then 7 organisational ones that were just phenomenal. What I'd like you to do is take a moment and think, wow, play a life. the 3D drama stuff. Wow, where could that be useful in my life? Why don't you have a chat for just a minute? Round of applause.